it was the biggest promotion I had ever had the opportunity to compete for. It was at the jiu-jitsu arena, and so the lights and all the razzle and dazzle, that was pretty cool. It was an emotional experience at moments, just because I felt the transition from being an amateur, as a very successful amateur, which was cool, but I was leaving that so far behind and trying to do the same thing as a pro.
You will be making your return to the cage at LFA 122 on January 21st. Take us through the process of getting this fight booked.
Yeah, well, I have to thank agent Carl Reed with Paradigm Sports for negotiating this contract with LFA. I fought for them in the past. Took a short notice fight last fall, and then the winter before that. But so I already had established a good relationship with them. That being said, now I have the opportunity to establish more credibility with UFC feeder.
Glaucio Eliziario, a Nova and Yaw fighter, right? Hard name to say. He's has a lot of experience, man. If you go through his record against some tough guys, what is your view of him as a fighter and his style?
Oh, I mean, I guess I'll echo what you had just said. He is a very tough fighter. He's not afraid to stand in the pocket and exchange. He's a forward-moving, aggressive striker with some good offensive grappling. And like I said, he's training with the Noval guys out there in Brazil. So, not that I've been there, but I can gauge what the culture is like there, and I understand there's a tremendous amount of confidence and pride coming out of that area. So I'm expecting him to stand his ground and really take the fight to me. If he doesn't, then obviously it'll lend to a slightly different tactical approach going in, but not one I won't be prepared for. With that being said, I think it's going to be an exciting fight. It'll be one that'll kick off the final three in what I view right now as a lightweight bracket or tournament en route to what will likely be a regional title shot for one of a few of us in the running.
That's great. That's great to hear. And before we get further into that matchup, I wanted to go back to 2020, man. Before you returned in early 2020, you had a period of 3 years that you did not compete inside the cage. What was going on during that time?
Yeah, so I had just moved. Well, I moved from my hometown here, Columbia, Missouri, to Texas, late 2016. I was, at the time I was in a relationship, and I'd also met a coach out there, Stephen Wright, amazing Dutch kickboxing and MMA coach. He's worked with Johnny Hendricks or Zach Alhassan. He still does. And my former USA teammate Jose Shorty Torres had introduced me to him. So it seemed opportunistically like a good move at the time, and things didn't exactly pan out the way I wanted to. I made the pro debut. Then I had a loss with Titan FC shortly after that. It was a pretty bad knockout. My health wasn't really good before, during, and after the camp, so I did take a period of time just to recover from, say, from a neurological and just a mental health standpoint, both physically and mentally. Um, and then I had an ACL tear, so I was going through a personal crisis, but I was trying to get my fighting career back on track, pushing things, being a bit stubborn, and had an injury during training, and then I kind of went off on my own, I guess, personal spirit journey. I ended up on my own and still training martial arts a lot. I was working under Chris Brennan. He's a globally renowned three-time world champion jiu-jitsu practitioner out of Next Generation MMA. So I was actually living at a gym, like homeless, no car or anything, and the ACL tear had sparked an interest in rehab. So I was, I have a sports science background, and then I got into found an interest in physical therapy and chiropractic, and actually went to massage therapy school during that time as well. And so I began to build a strength and conditioning approach, including a lot of the strategies that rehab specialists use. And I rebuilt myself with the help of a lot of really great people. And then I also found a route back into academia. So, now as it stands, I'm pursuing university level goals as well as, high level mixed martial arts level goals as well.
Definitely, definitely. It's great to see that you have something outside of fighting that you're pursuing as well. You know what I mean? Like, so to say, a plan B in a way. And you went through the trials and tribulations. You come out 2020, three straight wins. Then you went to UAE Warriors at the start of 2021. How was that experience fighting internationally?
Uh, getting there was a bit stressful just because it was a short notice fight overall. I just fought Slava on LFA. He's actually signed with Slava Borsov. He's signed with the UFC now, so that was not an easy fight. And then I was collaborating with another startup management company, and he found this opportunity. Thought it'd be good. It was against Abdurrahman out of Eagle MMA. So it was, excuse me, pardon me, but it was an opportunity to travel and compete internationally on a commemoration card for Khabib's father, in respect for his passing. So I had the opportunity to compete in front of Dana White, uh, Sean, or Matt Serra, sorry, and Khabib himself. And so um, it was the biggest promotion I had ever had the opportunity to compete for. It was at the jiu-jitsu arena, and so the lights and all the razzle and dazzle, that was pretty cool. It was an emotional experience at moments, just because I felt the transition from being an amateur, as a very successful amateur, which was cool, but I was leaving that so far behind and trying to do the same thing as a pro. I felt lost for a period of time, and uh, so now to see, I know, sorry, I got my brand new little puppy dog here. He just wants his attention, but
It's all good.
um, so yeah, so to be able to feel myself in the moment of the transition from startup pro into hitting the regional and eventually international scene, it felt really good.
So even, you didn't come away with the result that you wanted, you still had a lot of growth outside that cage, right?
Absolutely. So I mean, it was a very close fight. It was one that I do believe I was better from a skill and even a fitness standpoint. He was an incredibly talented, and incredibly talented grappler, and he put that on display very early in the fight. And but to even Dana White's words, the credit his words, said one more round and I probably would have had it. Or even if I, like I said, if I had taken it to him a bit earlier, I think I could have found a route to victory. And so, I mean, that in of itself was the lesson: was I need to recreate myself and be someone who can play a faster game of chess. Obviously, I'm improving my skills and my conditioning. Every fitness metric, but from a tactical standpoint, I need to be able to think faster and make less mistakes en route to a victory, because these guys at the highest levels they're great chess players.
After that fight, you reeled off three more wins, three straight wins in a 2 month period. Though not many fighters are doing that these days. How hectic was that period for you?
That was, man. I'm excited. I'm happy to be fighting again, but I would not have complained if I had one more month before returning again. That was so. The second fight, I got to take it a catch weight. It was on 3 days' notice for LFA against Irfan. Not gonna attempt to pronounce his last
Yeah.
name. Bosnian guy, Bosnian, huge Bosnian community in St. Louis, Missouri, and he was just a killer for me. He had murderous intentions from the start of that fight, so it was grueling from start to finish. Um, but yeah, figuring out how to peak appropriately, or at least stay in the best condition and manage fatigue, fighting so closely together while doing weight cuts, was the the most challenging, but also the most fun part. And this is where I lend credit to my sports science background and those that have mentored me over the past years, uh, to be able to use data, to make objective measurements and dictate the decisions that I make. I was telling the last interviewer, it gives you a huge sense of confidence, because you're not relying on speculation, or the subjectivity of experience alone. You have your experiences and you can customize your approach accordingly. But having tried and true data to support your approach, it's undoubtedly the best way to go.
Confidence, momentum is a huge factor, I feel like, in a fighter. So, what are your expectations in this upcoming fight? What type of performance will the fans see?
So it's funny. This season has marked the discovery of my MMA identity. I believe I'm diverse, but I am the guy who beats people up until they wear down, and then I choke them out, or at least do something until they kind of quit underneath me. So I would like to get that done faster, but I really do think you're going to see a lot of, a lot of really great striking defensive maneuvers on display for this fight. I'm going to have to be very strict, with this offensive onslaught. So you'll see great footwork from me this fight. You'll see great defense, and then you'll see me winning the chess match faster. I mean, most of the time my fights end up on the floor. It's not my intent to just go out, take them down, choke them out, but in some way, shape, or form, that'll likely be what happens.
So the goals for this year is to have that LFA belt wrapped around your waist and possibly, enter the next level of your career.
Yeah, 3 fight contract with them, so a win next Friday will put me at 30-3 total in my career. So 90% of the time I'm winning. I think that's a good way to continue building momentum. 2 more fights, possibly a regional title, and then maybe a contender series shot or a call up to the UFC in the third quarter of 2022.
Sounds perfect, man. And a couple more questions outside of your fight. Judging has been under the microscope a lot lately. There's a new style of judging or approach, I guess. It's called open scoring, and it's starting to be introduced in more and more locations. What are your thoughts on open scoring and how it will impact fights?
You're gonna have to elaborate a bit on open scoring. I actually just made a long post about one of our teammates' debut with the UFC, and I disagree with the decision.
Mm-hmm.
Not entire. I disagree with a unanimous decision loss, but yeah, no, I mean you're gonna have to explain because I definitely this is a conversation worth having for sure.
Yeah, open scoring is when the fighters, the coaches, the audience, the fans in the arena, they will know the exact score of each round, who's winning and who's losing.
Gotcha. Yeah. So LFA was the first time that I guess December 2020 was the first time that I've seen or experienced that. I think it's great. I think again, giving fighters data to work with. It's a very simple game of math there. 10-9. I won or lost. But it helps you reconfigure your approach because like it's one thing to come in with to figure out who has the best game plan going into a fight. It's another thing to make round by round adjustments, and then going even deeper to make minute by minute adjustments within the round. And so every piece of data that you can use, is going to be helpful. And if you're down one round, it doesn't matter how you felt about your performance. There's no subjectivity anymore. It's okay. The round is done, and I lost. So however I feel about how I performed in this round and what direction I thought it was going to go, I need to change, and it needs to happen very soon.
One more question before I let you go. The core group surrounding you as an up and coming fighter is extremely important, right? How difficult is it to tell the difference between negativity and constructive criticism?
This is also a really good question. So we've recently staffed our facility here at Columbia Training Academy, where we have coaches in all realms of MMA, or in all 4 pillars at least. And so I imagine other gym owners could resonate with the experience of figuring out how to manage egos from each. You have the renowned wrestling coach, talking with the renowned jiu-jitsu guy, about which style is better and this, that, or that, or, I think the fighter should be doing this or that. And the same thing goes for the boxing and Thai coach. And then, you have the striking and grappling, striking and grappling coaches opposing each other. I know, dog toys there.
Yeah.
But, so to be able to find synergy within that staff and help each other understand, A, you're working together. B, there might be a good or bad within each of our approaches or our styles, but we're trying to figure out what is best. And what is best is ensuring that the athletes are safe, and that the athletes are consistently winning. And in order to do that, again, I guess as far as distinguishing negativity from constructive criticism, is what I'm saying as a coach, or as a teammate or an athlete. is what I'm saying producing a positive response or a positive result to the person that that I'm communicating with. It's one thing to put somebody down, or to put something down, period. And it's another thing to open the conversation, on the grounds of, hey, I'm willing to have my mind changed about something. And with that said, here's my stance on your performance, or maybe the way you're approaching this. And I think that it could be done this way, or I think this might be better. What are your thoughts? And so long as the person reciprocates in that same manner, there's going to be, I mean, listen, we're human beings. We're biological organisms with, psychosociological influences, dictating, it's like, oh, he raised his eyebrow, he's disrespecting me. No, maybe he's not. That's just a tick. Okay. I gotta calm down, calm my breathing, and and figure out what's important. What is the main point this person is trying to get across? Okay, so how can I reflect what I would like, how I would like to feel, how I would like to feel, and then communicate in a positive manner so that you can stack those responses on top of each other, and then the entire gym can spiral upward. A lot of self monitoring, a tremendous amount of self awareness, which I think is on the rise in this season of mental health awareness that we've been experiencing in the country as well. So yeah, I mean, it takes maturation, it takes a lot of trial and error, but in the end, in light of the conversation about data, if you see gym performances, so sparring and grappling, if you see those your scrimmages mirroring the data that like the UFC PI puts out, where it's like, okay, the top performers in each weight class are putting out numbers that look like this in their competition on average, and our athletes are mirroring those to a certain degree, we know we're heading in the right direction. So let's keep doing that.
All right, man. January 21st, LFA 122. Will, thank you so much for the time. I hope to be doing many more in the future with you, man.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me today.